what graduate program is best for you can be daunting and feel very difficult. And the reality is, if you've never gone to grad school, then you may not know what matters most to you. And while I have a video that talks about the most important considerations for choosing a graduate program, today I'm really diving into why these considerations are important and how to think about these aspects of choosing a grad program so you can be as informed as possible when looking for graduate programs. So the first thing you want to know or understand in order to pick a PhD or graduate program that is best for you is to consider what methods or methodologies that you prefer. Now, before you panic, I also didn't know what methods or methodologies were before my PhD, so let me explain it a little bit. So your methods or methodology are generally how you like to do research. So a way that is easy for me to explain it is in my undergrad, I was a history and an art history major. And even though I studied the same history, which was Afro-Latin history, I did so in a very specific and different way within each degree. As a history major, when I did research or learned about Afro-Latin histories, I did so through primary sources or documents from that era. And these are usually text-based. So this could be diaries, it could be wanted posters, or it could be, governmental or colonial government documents, or things that are written down. In art history, on the other hand, I was looking more at material evidences. And this could be anywhere from art pieces and paintings that go up in a museum gallery to, forks and knives and pots and pans that you find in an old home. And so I would investigate or look at these material objects and the way that they were designed or the way that they were, crafted, and see what information I can get from them. Those are completely two different methodologies and methods, where history is more text-based and art history is obviously more art-based. And this is true for any and all graduate programs. So as you are trying to figure out what program is best for you, you also need to figure out what type of research do you like to do. Do you like to study or watch film or TV shows? Do you like text-based analysis? Do you really love reading old books or looking at art objects? All of those are different approaches to research, even though all of those approaches can study the same exact thing. So it's not necessarily about your topic, but rather how you want to or choose to study your topic. And the reason this is important is because if you don't know how you like to do research, then you may apply to a graduate program that approaches research in a way that may not vibe with you, may be extra hard for just how your brain works, or in a way that's just like you hate it. And all of those things can make you way more vulnerable to feeling like you don't belong in grad school, that you're not smart enough, and you don't deserve a degree. When in reality, it may not even be the research itself, but rather how you are doing the research. So being as aware as you can of how you like to do research and how you like to study things will help you be prepared to pick a program that is tailored to your strengths and thus will make you more likely to succeed in grad school. The next important thing you need to know when deciding what graduate program is best for you is the resources that are available at the university and even the department more specifically. And these resources should vary from not just the funding, but also including what classes they present, what additional opportunities like initiatives, what labs, what special programmings do they have, their faculty. And the reason that is because when you apply to a program, if there are no infrastructures within the department or within the university more broadly that support your research interests, then when you are trying to build your CV, you may feel like you might be behind your cohort mates who do have these opportunities. For example, if you're somebody who studies something very specific and there's nobody else on campus or no other program or initiative on campus that studies that thing, then you may be carrying a lot more burden of trying to figure out things all on your own, because you have to figure out the nitty-gritty details of your research, how to fund it or take care of it or make sure you eat, all on your own. Where if you have funding opportunities or grants, then obviously that becomes support that you can use for your graduate process. But also, if you have faculty, even if there aren't funding opportunities, if faculty are there and they're related to your topic, then they're going to be aware of what other opportunities, be it funding, fellowships, or what have you, that are out there in the larger academic sphere that you would be eligible for. So by making sure that they have these resources, one for professional and academic development, one for financial support, and then the other is just for networking opportunities, then you'll be able to make sure that you again are going to be able to thrive in your graduate program, rather feeling like you're fighting against a deficit or working much harder to get similar or same results as those around you. Which is directly related to the next thing you need to think about when deciding on what graduate program is for you, is actually the faculty. Now, I talk way more about how to choose and do this research on faculty in my video on the most important considerations for choosing a grad school, but I think for this program or this video in specific, I think it's important to just reiterate that faculty need to be invested in you and your success. So while you do want somebody that is related to your research, you also want to be aware of the department culture or the mentorship opportunities that exist within your department. So while yes, you want to make sure that they are related to your research, you also want to check, are they actively engaged in the department or engaged with graduate students, and are they nice? Now, this part of the research or reflecting is harder because you can't just do a simple Google search. Instead, you would probably have to reach out to graduate students and faculty to really get a vibe check or to make sure that they are in fact active and kind. And when you reach out to graduate students, you can be as explicit or as, honest or real as you want to be and ask those hard questions. Are faculty in your department kind? Are faculty in your department good at mentorship? Are faculty in your department, engaged in the department or in graduate programming, or on and on and on? And these questions, again, will help you understand what is the culture of the department, which is really important, but also can give you some insight on how faculty treat their students. Because some, and I would even say many, maybe even most, faculty do engage in academic hazing. They can be rude, they can be belittling. And so knowing that beforehand will also help you make a better, more informed decision on where you're going to feel welcomed and supported. And when you reach out to faculty, you can just ask to meet with them for 10 to 15 minutes or get to know them. And I have a video on how to reach out to faculty online, so don't panic if that seems super awkward. But when you do that, again, you can do a vibe check. If they respond to you very rude, if they don't respond to you at all, or if they're really kind, then you can get a good idea of what the vibe is or how this faculty member might treat you once you get there. And then, of course, if you find yourself applying and you do get accepted and you get the opportunity to do a campus visit, I would go and see how you feel about the way that faculty are talking to you or treating you or approaching this kind of campus visit. Because I guarantee if they're not going to be nice or inviting during the campus visit, it's only going to get worse. But if they're super kind and friendly during the campus visit, then that can be a good indicator that the culture of the department is actually pretty inviting and positive. The next thing that will help you decide on what graduate program is best for you is looking at the degree requirements. Every graduate program has its own unique requirements and expectations for their graduate students. And so it's important for you to understand what are the expectations before you get into the program so you're not blindsided about what they're asking you to do. For example, if you're somebody who just doesn't do really well with learning other languages and that type of memorization or practice is really difficult and it's not necessary for your research goal or your career goals, then you shouldn't necessarily pursue a bunch of programs that have many language requirements. Many programs, or most PhD programs in the United States, may expect you to have at least one additional language, but some of those can be dead languages or just like a level of translation where you don't actually have to speak it and you can always have a dictionary with you. Others, on the other hand, may require you to have 2, maybe even 3 living languages that are a part of your degree plan. So you just want to be prepared on what they are expecting you to do and can you do it? Or will you be able to learn the skills to do it? Now, this doesn't doesn't mean if you're somebody who isn't good at this specific skill or may not have the skill set to do this other thing that you shouldn't apply to that program. That's not what I'm suggesting at all. I'm just saying if you have an aversion to something, or if you really, on the other hand, want to learn something new, like I was really interested in learning other languages, so I made sure my program had a language requirement, then you can see the ways that a degree requirements or the expectations can guide you into deciding which programs are better for you and your personal and academic professional goals. And then of course, you should always consider your topic when deciding what graduate program is for you. And maybe I should have moved this one more towards the beginning, but the reason I didn't is that oftentimes when we focus or fixate on our topic, then we may pursue a PhD program without considering the many other things that were presented on this list. While yes, your topic is super important, it probably most likely will change. And so if you make all of your decisions based off of one criteria, which is your topic, and then that topic changes, then you may be trapped in a graduate program that you actually really hate. And nobody wants to do that. So by thinking about the previous things like your methodologies, like the resources and the faculty and the degree requirements, then no matter how your topic changes, you're able to still be in an environment that is conducive to positive growth and guides you towards your goals, whatever they could be. And of course, success in a PhD program is a product of a bunch of different things at play all at the same time. So if you're interested in learning more about the basics of a PhD program, I would check out my PhD Basics playlist. And if you found at least 2 things useful, hit a thumbs up so YouTube can help spread this information to others who may need it. And as always, if you have questions or concerns or just want to say hi, leave them in the comments down below. Your support helps a small YouTuber like me continue to grow. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week.